Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We're reading today from the
4th Canto, Chapter 9, Text 32.
I didn't mark it in the book last time.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Try to keep up the incantations. That's very thing. Since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of sage Narada. Prabhupada. As shown by many instances in the Vedic literature, when a person undergoes severe austerities, the demigods become very much perturbed because they are always afraid of losing their posts as the predominating deities of the heavenly planets. It is known to them that their position in the higher planetary system is impermanent, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, Sine punya matya lokam vishanti. It is said in the Gita that after exhausting the results of their pious activities, all the demigods who are inhabitants of the higher planetary system have to come back again to this earth. I didn't realize the demigods came back to this earth somehow.
Yeah. The middle planetary systems.
It's our neighbor.
It's our neighbor there. The middle planetary systems are like this point where you come and you either create negative karma so that you go down to the hellish planets, or you create good karma, you go up to the heavenly planets. But the amount of good karma that you've accrued, if you go to the heavenly planets, it's described like a credit card that has a certain max expenditure. And once you've spent all your good credits there in the heavenly planets, you have to come back down again to the middle planetary systems.
Also interesting.
Otherwise, you know, the idea is that whenever anyone and everyone who comes into the material world, they first take birth as a
Lord Brahma,
and then all the way down to fish.
So, but okay, thank you for that interlude. Also, just to note that the demigods, it says, Prabhupada says, and it says in the verse that they're quite insecure, and that it's a bit concerning, because when you have that much power, and they may not be Krishna, the absolute power, but they're demigods, they're partly powerful, and they are, because their part power controls the wind as we're feeling now, and the sun and the cold and whatnot. And so people who have a lot of power, you don't need them to be insecure and lacking in self-confidence, because that's dangerous for the rest of us. That's why it's important to vote in decent presidents and prime ministers and even local borough councillors, because they need to be sure of themselves and not be led by their mind and senses and have fall downs and whatnot with all the power they have. So in the same way, this Bhagavatam is full of fall downs, quite frankly, with people that should know better, like the sages and the demigods. So it is concerning that they get a bit insecure and wobbly at someone else's austerities. Yeah, I don't expect someone with that level of responsibility to get like that.
Well, that's very interesting, because I think the fact is that in the material world, that is the nature of the material world. Whether you're a demigod, or whether you're a ghoul or a goblin, or whether you're a human, or like that. Well, they're all kind of humans. They're different species of humans, but whether you're like a human like us. And so the nature is to be imperfect. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. So I would dare say that might be a false expectation that will get shattered time and time again. Because even in the material world, it's highly unlikely, especially in Kali Yuga, that some government officials will be voted in who are of the highest caliber and never have any issues. You know what I mean? What I'm saying?
No. I expect them to be. Like you expect when your kids go to school that the teachers are going to have their faculties about them.
Their faculties about them.
Do you see the point I'm making?
I think everyone gets the utopian point that you're making, but practical reality is, hey, you can write down what you think. You think that she's living in dreamy la la land, or that I'm speaking the truth, and so on. You put thumbs
Or it
up.
could be both.
It could be that we all expect and wish, but we deal with the practical realities.
Alright,
next paragraph, mate. It is a fact that the demigods control the different activities of the limbs of our bodies. Factually, we are not free even in moving our eyelids. Everything is controlled by them. Dhruva Maharaj's conclusion is that these demigods, being envious of his superior position in devotional service, conspired against him to pollute his intelligence, and thus, although he was the disciple of a great Vaishnava, Narada Muni, he could not accept Narada's valid instructions. Now Dhruva Maharaj regretted very much that he had neglected these instructions. Narada Muni had asked him, "Why should you bother about insult or adoration from your stepmother?" He of course said to Dhruva Maharaj that since Dhruva was only a child, what did he have to do with such insult or adoration? But Dhruva Maharaj was determined to achieve the benediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Narada advised him to go back home for the time being, and in mature time he could try to practice devotional service. Dhruva Maharaj regretted that he had rejected the advice of Narada Muni and was adamant in asking him for something perishable, namely revenge against his stepmother for her insult and possession of the kingdom of his father. Very interesting. Very interesting take this purport that Dhruva Maharaj is feeling that sense of remorse and regret about so many different things to do with the instruction from Narada Muni here we're hearing, because at the same time, look where he's at. Lord have mercy, he just got the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who by the way I think is standing there still talking.
No, he's gone.
Oh, well, who's Dhruva talking to? Oh, he left.
No one.
Okay, so Dhruva Maharaj is just introspecting.
No, remember he went, he gave his blessings and legged it.
And legged it, all right. Flew away. Winged it.
Literally,
he just had darshan of the Lord, but interestingly enough, now he's kind of in this space like, why didn't I just listen to Narada Muni and go back home? I prayed, I wasted so much time praying to the Lord to get some benediction. Meanwhile, what was the point? Because now he doesn't want the benediction and he's got it. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's kind of in this space where he's like, I thought I wanted it, now I realize I don't want it, but I got it, and now I got to deal with it. But that's also good because now he'll have to deal with it on behalf of the Supreme Lord. There we go.
Next paragraph. Dhruva Maharaj regretted very much that he could not take seriously the instruction of his spiritual master, and that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. Still, the Lord is so merciful that due to Dhruva's execution of devotional service, he offered Dhruva the ultimate Vaishnav goal. So what I'm hearing here is that Dhruva is regretting he didn't listen to Narada Muni. And he feels, what I'm reading is, it says that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. So, see, this, how I'm reading it is that I didn't listen to my spiritual master, be a good boy, go home, because I was determined for revenge. And my mother said, if you want that, go to the forest, because that's where all the great sages go and they get the benediction. So, that's what I'm reading, that my consciousness was contaminated, so I stayed because because I wanted revenge, but he's not regretting seeing the Lord and subsequently what happened.
Yeah.
It's a very important caveat, as you like to use that word, caveat.
Carrot cake.
Yeah.
You say?
Yeah.
See that? Lord have mercy. 13 years.
Sitting on this bench.
Text 33. Dhruva Maharaj, no, that was the one we just read. Text, is it?
It's text 33, please.
Yeah. So again, Dhruva Maharaj is lamenting. Dhruva Maharaj lamented, I was under the influence of the illusory energy, being ignorant of the actual facts. I was sleeping on her lap, under a vision of duality. I saw my brother as my enemy, and falsely I lamented within my heart, thinking, they are my enemies. This comes up quite a bit in the Shastra. Enemies. Who really are our enemies? Purport. Real knowledge is revealed to a devotee only when he comes to the right conclusion about life by the grace of the Lord. Our creation of friends and enemies within this material world is something like dreaming at night. In dreams we create so many things out of various impressions in the subconscious mind, but all such creations are simply temporary and unreal. In the same way, although apparently we are awake in material life, because we have no information of the soul and the supersoul, we create many friends and enemies simply out of imagination. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that within this material world or material consciousness, good and bad are the same. The distinction between good and bad is simply a mental concoction. The actual fact is that all living entities are sons of God or byproducts of his marginal energy. Because of our being contaminated by the modes of material nature, we distinguish one spiritual spark from another. That is also another kind of dreaming. It is stated in the Gita that those who are actually learned do not make any distinction between a learned scholar, a Brahmin, an elephant, a dog, and a Chandala. They do not see in terms of the external body, rather they see the person or spirit soul. By higher understanding, one can know the material body is nothing but a combination of the 5 material elements. In that sense, also, the bodily construction of a human being and that of a demigod are one and the same. From the spiritual point of view, we are all spiritual sparks, parts and parcels of the Supreme Spirit, God. Either materially or spiritually, we are basically one, but we make friends and enemies as dictated by illusory energy. Dhruva Maharaj therefore said, Daivim mayam upashritya. The cause of his bewilderment was his association with the illusory material energy. It's quite, at first reading, and maybe without deeper knowledge and understanding, that could come across as quite like Mayavad almost, impersonal. That we're all one. It says we're all one. We don't see a distinction. On the material platform, again, the Vidyavinaya Sampani Brahmani Gavi Hastani verse is quoted, the distinction between the cow, the dog, the Brahmin, the elephant, like that. But if we understand Gaudiya philosophy from that perspective, we can understand that we understand that we're all also one in collectiveness of individuality as spirit, souls, parts and parcels of Krishna. So we're all one in the fact that we're all part of Krishna. It doesn't mean we're all one that I'm you and I am you and you are me and we are, but actually that we're one in our nature of being Satchidananda spirit, soul. So the external body, okay, this one is my enemy because they like this football team, this is my enemy because they live in that country, this is my enemy because they're that religion. These things are the material assertions that is what causes the problems, to be perfectly frank and honest.
It's the mind.
And it's a terrible thing to taste.
Or waste.
Taste.
Waste.
Exactly.
Alright.
Alright, we're going to leave it.
We'll leave it because it's so cold.
It's chilly, chilly, chilly.
Like really cold.
See y'all later now, you hear? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Going to our Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.